Listen.
Yeah, come on. Yo, that's that spooky shit, that real, that's right. That Gmsonic shit. Hey yo, Mr. Clean. Shout out to Dracula Presley, Corbin, Johnny Slash on the beat. Hey yo. Yo, it's the Gmsonic show. Phantom opera flow, permissionless, immutable, unstoppable, spectacular. Gather with Corville and Dracula. Abracadabra, flip shit like a spatula. Few Andre Stan, the master of memes. DeFi king, half man, half virtual machine. No other team can match the collective expertise. No other chain can achieve the supersonic speeds. Home with the most creative tech. What's your favorite decks? Spooky swap, equalizer, Beethoven X. And when I place my bet, I never break a sweat. Worship the open source code like sacred text. Rest assured, battle tested and ready for war. I check the bribes, cast the vote and collect the rewards. Knock at the door, trick or treat. Move like a zombie, but usually I stay cooler than Fonzie. I get surgical with this, call me Dr. Doom. Break the sound barrier, hit you with a sonic boom. We got it wrapped like a mummy in a tomb. It's about time we address the elephant in the room. It's called Sonic. Yo, what's the new hot topic? Gmsonic. Straight up alpha, you can get it if you watch it. Gmsonic. Yo, what's the new hot topic? Gmsonic. Straight up alpha, you can get it if you watch it. Yo, since the Genesis block, consensus didn't stop. Innovating since day one and never missed the plot. I'm just a humble yield farmer, tending these crops like a routine. See you at the next epoch. Ayo, the DeFi Renaissance, yeah, we were part of that. Your favorite dap, Phantom is where it started at. Go to Paint Swap and cop an ancient artifact. Let's run it back so we can 20x the market cap. FTM's the pre-sale, S is the ticker. It's best to zoom out so you can see the bigger picture. Brand new tech, brand new insignia. No trivia, we stacking more chips than Nvidia. Graduated from Halloween to a sonic theme. The dead chain resurrected, make you wanna scream. Due diligence, follow the new primitives. Controlled by the citizens, built to move billions. Your mass adoption, that's the only option. We ain't stopping till we locked in the top 10. Who got the best community? Who got the most promise? Who got the most pumponomics? Phantom and now Sonic. Yo, what's the new hot topic? Gmsonic. Straight up alpha, you can get it if you watch it. Gmsonic. Yo, what's the new hot topic? Gmsonic. Straight up alpha, you can get it if you watch it.
Monday morning. I'm tired, bros. I'm tired of this world. When will it be my turn to be on top? I'm tired, bros. I'm tired of this world. When will it be my turn to be on top?
諦めんなよ。諦めんなお前。どうしてそこでやめるんだ。そこでもう少し頑張ってみろよ。ダメ諦めたら周りのこと思えよ。応援してる人たちのこと思ってみろって。あともうちょっとのところなんだから。俺だってこのマイナス10度のところしじみが取れるって頑張ってんだよ。絶対やってみろ。必ず目標達成できる。だからこそネバーギブアップ。
Hey.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Drac. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, doing all right, man. Just been running my Wojak level indicator, running the numbers, doing some scans, trying to get us back in the game here.
Yeah, I mean, we got to acquire the data first before we can decide what we want to do, So we got to do our biz research.
Yeah, we got to scan biz, get all the pages, see what's going on. Yeah, I would say that the indicator saying it's time to buy was maybe too hasty there. So we're still going to think about it.
Hey, I got pulled up real quick. Fortunately, you guys want to take a quick look here at biz real quick? You mind if I throw this up on the screen real quick?
May as well, man. We're just hanging out today, really. Oh,
dude,
okay.
just hodl. Alt season is just around the corner. NPC me looking directly at me. It's the slow dump that's the most painful. It's not quite all pink, but it's not much better.
What's the one with Anne Hathaway up there?
This one?
That's not Anne Hathaway.
Why do I get the feeling she thinks I'm cute and wants to have sex? It's got 10 replies. That is not business related at all. Link Marines, help. I need your help. I'm down 7 figures from my high with no relief in sight. I promise my wife and kids will buy a home next year.
Actually, let's see. Oh, what's this monad one here? Let's see. It was just like a little, okay.
Oh, we
I
can't
don't
read
think
that on
you
screen.
I
Cannot
don't
read
think
that on
you
stream.
that one.
All right, that's enough 4chan for the day. But there you go, guys. Sentiment is down. Well, no, I don't know. Things are looking kind of good, dude. I've been moving the last week, so I've been monastic mode because I haven't really been looking at the timeline very much for like at least 7 days. But I've just been staring at the charts, dude. I've been trading the Bitcoin chart like a genius, dude.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking before the show. I mean, like nightmare scenario temporarily avoided, I believe. Like I
That
said,
wick was scary, though. That wick was scary.
yeah, the wick, it really scared me because it just like launched into some old meme line I had. That's usually a bad omen for me. But we held above the cloud. We're crabbing a little bit, which is kind of about what I think I said it in the Gmsonic Telegram. I was like, they're going to nuke it, then they're going to crab for a while so they can get some, liquidate you up, liquidate you down, liquidate you back up. And if we're going off the history of this chart, pretty strong history, I think, then we're looking at potentially one last crazy leg up. That's what I hope for. That's what I hope for all of us.
I think that's the prayer. I think we can all get behind that. We all want one last leg up. And to your point about they're going to nuke it once more and then they're going to send it up, I want to show you guys something that slid across my timeline earlier today. Remember this guy? He's posted, I think, buy now, like buy the dip.
Yeah.
Now look what he's doing, dude. A millennial, just like me.
Welcome to American Bitcoin.
You can tell because he paused.
It's a little sneak peek of our facility in Texas using American energy to mine Bitcoin right here on American soil. We could not be more proud of this facility. 35,000 of these servers right here.
Top signal or bottom signal?
Securing the network, mining Bitcoin. Every single day we...
I don't love it.
You don't love it?
I don't love it because I think about how at this point it's like so impractical to mine Bitcoin here. I had some people approach me about like kind of like helping with like a build out to mine Bitcoin and ran all kinds of numbers. And like I think part of it is like you have to find a location where you can get power, electricity pretty cheap. So they were wanting to do it. I live outside Atlanta. They wanted to like, kind of keep it in the metro Atlanta area. And it was basically like, I can't remember exactly how it broke down, but it was not good. It was pretty much like you would be in the negative for 5-6 years. And that's like counting that, you're going to have like another halving big increase. Now, if you could make it to the halving after that and the halving still does what it does, then yeah, you'd be like sitting pretty good. But yeah, I'm not sure how they're making any money out there. I guess it's just the flex, really. It's probably just like bleeding cash.
Yeah. Maybe they have a way to make it economical because they are the government, though. I don't know. Maybe they're going to disconnect all of Las Vegas from the Hoover Dam and just connect the Bitcoin mining rigs to that.
Yeah. I mean, I have some family that are like they're a little bit more out in the country, and that's in like North Carolina, but it's like basically somebody out in the middle of nowhere built like a mining facility. And I guess since they built it out in the middle of nowhere, they didn't really like take any measures to, dampen the insane sounds that come out of it 24 hours a day. So that's been like a whole thing with, all these people in the country. Like, it's like Stranger Things or something. There's a mysterious warehouse out here that just emits like a hive of bees at like insane decibel level 24 hours a day.
Yeah, that sounds freaking terrifying, dude. You know what I mean? You're one of those haulers or something. Stinky says a friend of his found an office for rent that included free power. He used it to mine, so he got kicked out in a month too. Good plan. Good plan. Fallout Zone. I mean, this might apply to everybody. What is the vertical streamish thing? So StreamYard has given us like 2 options to do like a vertical and a landscape stream. It should like match whatever format you're in. If not, let me know because I could just tell them to just do landscape or whatever.
Yeah, Fallout Zone. I think it actually pushes 2 streams on YouTube. So if you back out, you should be able to go to like the normal ratio. I think when it kicks out the vertical, it kicks out like 2 actual live streams, if that makes sense. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And then we got a new subscriber, Anthony Manzananamanob. Welcome. Welcome to the channel, guy. But yeah, okay. Let's take a quick look at the Bitcoin chart real quick again, if you don't mind. Oh, wait. I was going to ask you to flip to 30 minutes, but that just messes up your chart. Let me now whatever. We don't need to look at
I can do this here. What we'll do is I got a 4-hour on Ethereum, and I had it on 4-hour so that, you know, you could kind of get a little hopium here. Because basically 4-hour here, finally see, you know, after, I don't know, a solid, you know, over a week of just, you know, terror. Finally getting a little hopium here. I want to see it close above, I don't know, 29.50 or something. And I want to close over this line, of course, this moving average. But, you know, this is like a mean reversion setup. So similar to like what I like on the Ichi with the baseline, where I call it the magnet. I like mean reversion setups where basically you would look at this as like a magnet. So kind of a similar idea. You're coming in, you're hopefully going to enter the cloud here. Once you kind of get into this cloud area, you're looking to like begin your march back to the mean. So looking at that, pulling up Bitcoin, it's actually looking a little similar. Not quite as good as Ethereum right now, but same idea. After a lot of toppling, a lot of pain, you're starting to see these wick boys. And usually when you see that, you're looking at the beginning of a wind up. So it means people don't know if they want to go up or down, if they don't want to sell or buy, but we got green ones. So what I'm hoping is that we're also like looking at the beginnings of some kind of reversal.
We can pray. It's just every time I see those little green bars or the big long red line, I just, you know, we look at early November, failed rallies, but I think we can, I don't know. I'm actually kind of bullish on this one just because to me, Drac, it feels like if it doesn't happen now, that's a sure sign that the party's kind of over for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, and to learning as we go's point, we got some things to say about Sonic. Things are boring. We need some hope. I think we're talking a lot about Bitcoin right now because at this point still the whole party being all of crypto kind of is still dependent on this.
Yeah, and I mean that's, you know, an unfortunate part of it, but yeah, it's like we focus more on Bitcoin and Ethereum during these times because it's like after we've had these 2 massive shakeouts, it's like now we have to look for signs of life there before we can even drill down to, you know, even looking at alts that have good fundamentals or a good business or whatever. You know, they're still just not going to be able to move. Now, you did ask for a little Sonic hopium. Now, I got to zoom in there on these little guys here. But there's a little bit there. Same idea, you know, after just weeks of toppling, we got some indecision here. We're right at support. To me, I feel like this is pretty solid that we're bottomish. Obviously, you can see we've just been cascading from here, but we're hanging in there at support. We're, you know, like I said, you get these wick dojis. You're kind of like, all right, that's usually a good sign that, you know, we're consolidating and the market's starting to maybe like change its mind a little bit. Yeah, Fallout. Yeah, he says zoom closer. Let's see how these are like just little baby. How's that?
Enhance.
Yeah, enhance. But yeah, I mean,
Wow, it
That's
really
to
does feel
me.
like that meme, dude. It really does feel like that meme with the magnifying glass right now. It feels bad, man.
Yeah, no. Fallout Zone says hopefully it's not a lower high than the real bear begins. I agree. We're not in a fun spot in terms of, I have my whole little thesis. Everyone's got their own thesis, I have my whole thesis that I still feel like, all right, I'm not panicking yet. Looking at the charts, I feel like this isn't like totally out of the question in terms of like what we would see with like a semi, like an actual organic pullback retrace. So until that thesis gets invalidated, which it's, like I said, as far as I'm concerned, we're definitely in the danger zone. Unless that gets invalidated, I'm still sticking to my plan, which is I think we are running back up from here or around this area. We might, there's still some room for some pain. But I tend to believe that this is bottomish.
Yeah, and I think at the risk of sounding like financial advice, so please cut the feed if I get a little too crazy, Drac. This to me feels a little bit more like accumulation time more so than swing time. You know what I'm saying? This is the kind of time for this particular asset where I wouldn't necessarily expect. I mean, it's possible. It's entirely possible. I mean, I don't have complete insight into what Labs is doing, or there could be some launches coming that I'm unaware of. But it seems to me like a lot of the time, like this is going to be kind of a slow burn for a good little while. Judging by, because one thing I did see was a lot of like people talking about like Lab still isn't talking, Lab still isn't doing things. They definitely are. Mitch is out there meeting Saudi, meeting sheiks, oil barons or something. I don't know what they're talking about, but I'm expecting that we'll get some news once something materializes from that. But again, these aren't like the kinds of quick wins you may want. But the game has also changed, right? It's not like Sonic can just all of a sudden be like, what we're on Kraken, so now the price is going to pump or whatever.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, like going off my weekly here, you have a strong pattern here of marching up, pretty intense pullback, but with that pullback, it begins the next real leg up. So that's still what I'm banking on at the moment. Like I said, there's still a little wiggle room in there for pain. I had it kind of in my mind when everything was really spiraling out that, we might even wick down or have a day as low as, mid 70s, something like that. We didn't go that low, but I think there's still a little space there. Yeah, Stingy says historically, BTC parabolic pumps have big dumps. Exactly. So I think that, and I think I said this last episode, but I think the only difference here is basically if we had not had 1010, I think there would have been more confidence in the market in terms of, I think this pullback would have put us more like mid lower 90s instead of, upper 70s, lower 80s. And I think that, that obviously caused a lot of fear, a lot of selling. I think in the 90s is kind of like a pain point that's tolerable, where it's kind of like, all right, well, it's still pretty close to 100. It's going to run back up. But you get out of that 90K area and people start to get a little freaked out.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, when I hit high 80s, I was thinking, this shit might be over, bro. But yeah, to your point, the 1010 thing, we keep coming back to it. Maybe it's just because a super newsworthy and noteworthy event. But I don't think it can be understated the kind of damage it caused, not just psychologically, financially, all that stuff, but perception wise, because Drac is saying, it removed a lot of the confidence, the budding confidence that was in the market. Plagued with what do you call them? Rugs, scams, hacks all the time already, and then you add in this. And I think the last thing I heard from someone more public facing, more normie facing about it, I think it was Tom Lee, and he was saying it was like a computer glitch, and that doesn't inspire confidence in people.
No,
Like,
no,
it's a
and
little bit more tolerable if it was a hostile actor than if it was a computer glitch.
and I think that's like interesting. It's something we have to think about going forward. Is like, you have this interesting sector of more traditional finance people that already have discounted alts, that have already said, yeah, like Solana, that's the chain with all the celebrity rugs. There's rugs everywhere. I buy Bitcoin and Ethereum. And for a lot of these people, you know, a lot of us were here for the FTX collapse, all the firm collapses, all the big liquidations. I guess at this point, that was 3 years ago. But for a lot of these people that have just been buying Bitcoin and Ethereum, this was kind of like their first rodeo. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
This was kind of like, yeah, it's volatile, and it doesn't, you don't get to just ride the wave forever. So I think the 10-10 part had already shaken a lot of people out in terms of being like, okay, maybe this isn't for me. And then, you have these latest liquidations. So definitely like a trial by fire kind of event, I think, for a lot of people that are new to the space. But the fact, like I said, the fact that we're even holding where we are tells me that there's still strength. Tells me that we're not done yet.
Yeah, Yankee brings up an interesting point. We hear so much about the people that lost money on 10-10, but someone must have made a bunch. So who was that? It was that big shorter guy, remember? The big short guy.
Yep, there's definitely some people that made a lot of money.
Yeah, I think it depends on the venue, but like for like Hyperliquid, I think a lot of their vaults made a lot of money because of the ADL, and then some shorts made a lot of money until they ran out of money to pull out of the long the margin positions, and then that was just straight up the vaults, from my understanding.
Yeah, and I mean, you even heard some of these stories like people that don't have enough liquidity, which for being like a big centralized exchange, I mean, like something like MEXC, you had these guys that positions couldn't get closed, and then like things shot the other way and they got liquidated, and then like the exchange is kind of like, oh well, you got liquidated, right? And it's like, well, no, you ran out of like actual money because everything was going so insane you couldn't pay positions. So I mean, you're still dealing with things like that. Like I've seen some of that on the timeline. There's been a couple like high profile people being like, either like I didn't get paid, or something weird happened with my position because they like ran out of liquidity. And we're still seeing occasional bodies float up. So
yeah. And there is like the irony is not lost on me, Drac, that like I think kind of this is what Yankee's kind of pointing at here almost with this question, is that like it's like the whole point of crypto is that it should be extremely transparent, right? The idea is like if I'm losing, I know who's winning on the other side of this deal, basically, or that it could be easily like pulled apart if it is like a complex transaction. But until someone makes a dashboard for it, I don't have the time for it, unfortunately, because I'm still in this move. But someone should make a dashboard or something. You know what I mean? Biggest winners on that day.
Yeah, for real. That would be definitely interesting to find out. Somebody had something up here. Where did it go? Oh, it said, after your Sonic talk, what do you all think of the Mega ETH raise? That's been kind of a fun story this morning, if you haven't been keeping up with it.
Yeah, so I haven't been keeping up with it. Last thing I saw were before Monad launched, people were talking mad crap about it. They were saying Monad still hasn't hit their cap. Mega ETH surpassed their cap by quadrillions of dollars. Mega ETH is going to win. Yeah. Monad, I think, eventually did hit their cap, but catch me up, Drake.
Yeah, I mean, Mega ETH is having this like pre-deposit event. And, people were anticipating it because you've seen these pre-deposit events before with things like Blast and Barra, where they kind of weren't successful. If I remember right, the Barra one was like pretty long. It was like 3 months or something, and those are just funds that, with their system, I don't think you could withdraw your funds. And then Barra took such a hit at launch that by the time people got their pre-deposit funds back and their tokens, they were like ridiculous APRs. Like it was more like you lost opportunity cost by participating. So Mega ETH had this whole thing where it was a pre-deposit where I think you can also withdraw, but it started this morning, and this is a pretty good post, just kind of like summing up the whole thing. Let me blow it up a little bit. But basically, it was supposed to open at 9 a.m. at 250 million. At 9 a.m., the website couldn't really handle the traffic. Nothing was working. The deposits weren't working. Nobody could get in. Finally, I guess about an hour in, the website starts working. $250 million fills up in 3 minutes, right? Well, here's where it gets fun. So I guess about 10 a.m., 3 minutes, 250 million. So what they had said was, if we fill up 250, we'll open it up to $1 billion. And they had a time for it. They said, okay, well, we're gonna lift it to $1 billion. It's gonna open at, I think it was 11 a.m. Right? So essentially what happens is they had a multi-sig prepared that they had to use to, open up this next round. They had all signed the multi-sig, but what happens is on a multi-sig is everybody signs it, but then the TX still has to get shot. Well, depending on the situation, sometimes anybody can actually submit that TX. So our very own Chud_ETH is kind of a star today. He's in the Gmsonic Telegram. He basically submitted that TX, which instantly opened the cap about 30 something minutes early. That also,
there he is, dude.
There he is. Yeah, he says, "Oops." So yeah, he sends in the TX. It opens it up early. People are panicking. The team tries to cap it at 400, but it was already too late to stop it at 400. They had to stop it at 500. That's filled up, but like I said, now we're dealing with people are mad that, it was supposed to happen at 11. It happened early, all that stuff. Yeah. Someone here says, don't leave 4 transactions. Yeah, I agree. That was kind of a very, I don't want to say rookie, but,
I kind of want to talk about that a little bit more, because I worked with a company with a firm company project, where the fuck you want to call them. It was a team, and they had a similar thing where they were launching some pools, and they had the multi-sig signed and ready to go, and they were gonna like launch it all at once, but someone found them. This is the thing that's kind of interesting. I learned this as a result of that. There are some scripts or bots people run that just look for multi-sig transactions that they can queue, because
I can imagine.
In this example, like this is probably, this is kind of destructive, but there are much more destructive ways where something like this can be exploited. For any of you devs out there, do not leave a multi-sig mostly signed. Do not wait for it to execute it. Sign and execute at the same time, because what they did is they launched it was like a transaction to launch the pools, and there was another transaction that was supposed to like fund the pools or something like that. And so what happened when they launched it, they were just drained like immediately. Like literally millions of dollars lost. So
yeah,
it's interesting.
Yeah,
it's important to remember the tech side of this, guys.
Yeah, like as learning as we go mentions, it is just kind of like bad multi-sig hygiene. I think that Paul Zone says that sure gives me more confidence in this space. And yeah.
Well, hey, Fall Zone, hire Drac and Corval Consulting, and we'll always make sure that your multi-sigs are not being executed like that.
Yeah, I agree that it's like, it is kind of like, it's a pretty bad mistake considering that you were talking about $1 billion on the line. So yeah, I mean, when there's that much money at stake, you don't think that there's people looking for vulnerabilities, people, look, I mean, that's just, yeah, it's a very bad mistake. So they were able to halt it at 500 million, right? So the plan changes again. They go, okay, well, 11 a.m. is 30 minutes away. So we're going to raise it to 1 billion at 11 a.m. So there'll be another 500 million. Well, right at 11, they come out and say, oh, never mind. We're just not raising it anymore. So obviously timeline is freaking out. Everybody's mad. Everybody's got a story about how they're, I just went to McDonald's and I was going to get back in time to eat my cheeseburger and deposit, and now I can't. You've ruined my life. But I don't know. It's just been a funny week. It's because like you also had Monad, which I think that Monad kind of started as a story because it was under the Coinbase sale price. As far as I was concerned, I got an airdrop. I played around on the chain a little bit. There were people claiming the chain wasn't working. I used the chain fine. I didn't have any issues. But yeah, until about lunchtime Eastern time, people were starting to be like, it's a failure, it's a flop. But by the end of the day, I think the token was, people were up like 2x or something, or 1.5 or something on their Coinbase buy. So that kind of died down quick. The real story now is I was looking at stats this morning. Monad's at 200 in terms of token ranking. There was $70 million of DeFi TVL locked on DeFi Llama this morning. I think those stats are probably a little more on the damning side than I don't know what people exactly expected, this being one of the biggest airdrops probably ever. I mean, I expected a lot more pain, honestly. So
yeah,
they managed to recover on the token end, but the real question is just like, is anybody going to use this thing?
Yeah. And I think that's the thing we're most interested in as, people in the Sonic ecosystem, right? Is like, it's a shiny new toy, right? Is that enough to get people over, right? Because there's, to some extent, you can kind of expect interest in, a network or products to lessen over time, especially as new products are being released out there. But if they can't even get traction with like the hype that they've got now, then that does speak to kind of a need to pivot in some way and how we conduct business on our end, right? Kind of informs the business strategy.
I think it's like we're still looking at, and I have friends that work at Barachain. I know that there's some people there that worked really, really hard on that and still work really hard on it. But I think what happened was, or what I'm seeing with Monad right now is, Barra was just, we have 200-300 builders. We have all this stuff building, all these things happening. And then it was like launch week, all the way really through like launch month. There was just nothing to really do on the chain. None of the memes were taken off. Your protocols that came at launch out the box were just like, your typical scammy Uniswap forks. I mean, of course, there was like some projects that came around relatively fast, but that's kind of all I really noticed on Monad yesterday was like, they did have a handful of like decent projects launch on launch day, but I mean, I don't know. I played around for maybe an hour, maybe 2, and was just kind of like, I don't know. There's just not really much to do yet.
Yeah. Not sure what Sonic Labs can do right now. S price is down so bad. Who wants it? Partner with Riot Games and make it so that you have to spend S tokens to buy Riot skins for your League of Legends characters. So if you want,
here's a funny comment though. Asked Chug, which I think he means Chud, but Chug with 2 G's is a way better username. You should consider changing it, Chud.
Yeah, Chug.
But Chug is saying, was this what kind of happened with the Hey Anon launch on Sonic? No, that was different, but it was equally humorous. If someone might be able to correct me here, someone like a historian like Yankee Ruin here might be able to, but if I remember correctly, it was that people that were kind of like waiting for the project, or like they found a way to get access to USDC before anybody had access to it on the chain or something.
Yeah, I think they like bridged USDC somehow to the chain when the functionality wasn't like officially open. I can't remember how they actually did it. Like I don't think it was like there was a transaction waiting to be called that was gonna like instantiate the bridge or whatever. It was like they did some like ridiculous thing. All I remember was this. Okay, yeah, Bridges USDC before it was live. All I remember is someone had figured out how to do it, and they were offering like insane deals, like stupid deals. It was like, give me like 10 USDC and I'll give you 1 USDC on Sonic for the Hey non-buy or something like that.
Yeah, people were like, there was like this I mean, the whole thing was probably less than a day, so it was funny, but yeah, there was like this like black market for like a day where everybody was like, yeah, like I'll give you, we'll trade these tokens, and like no one can trade them, and like there's super, scarcity and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Yankee says they used the gateway before it was available.
Yeah, you could only bridge through contract. Wait, so that's not even that complicated.
Yeah, I mean,
imagine paying that much when all you had to do was call the function, dude.
I can't like totally remember though, like how people benefited from it, but they did somehow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it was just they could buy in earlier on the Hey non-raise or something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, I would say the Mega ETH thing, obviously there wasn't a hack. There wasn't, you can't really call it an exploit. It wasn't a hack. It wasn't an exploit. It was, negligence, I guess, on the team's end, but, nobody lost anything,
Well, except for the people that were, I guess you're right. No one lost. They lost their hope, dude. They lost their hope that they could get into the Mega ETH pre-sale.
Yeah. They lost some hope, I guess. But I mean, but this is like another thing where, I don't know.
Isn't Mega ETH launching a Flappy Bird clone on launch or something? They have like and every time you tap, it's a transaction on the blockchain.
I don't know. That'd be interesting,
sure,
but
like that.
But yeah, I mean, I got sidetracked earlier. I was going to say the reason that the pre-deposit was hot was because they're saying that Mega ETH will launch, relatively soon, like probably like, first couple weeks of December. So that system had, a lot of people kind of had a bad taste in their mouth, like I said, after Blast and Barra and some other stuff. But I think you can withdraw. I think you can withdraw early. Don't quote me on that. But also it's just more that people were more comfortable going after it, knowing that like the chain launch is actually imminent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Now, speaking of like chain drama, chain glitches, I don't know what you would describe as vulnerabilities. Do we want to talk a little bit? Feel free to say no. Yeah, we got a couple places we can go. Do you want to talk a little bit about the Charles Hoskinson Cardano thing? Because I think it's not similar. Basically, it's interesting. It seems like every couple years, typically in like a bearish type situation, there seems to be like issues with chains, basically, right? Where there's either a need to fork or something. It's just interesting. We had like the Vera thing, Sonic with that hack bouncer or whatever, and now Cardano has had its own like little thing here. Have you heard about this, Drek?
Yeah, and I was trying to see real fast if I could like find a decent recap.
I got this one here. Let me pop it up on the screen.
Pop that up.
Quite long.
I always enjoy a good Cardano story.
Yeah, Charles Hoskinson. Again, I gotta remind you guys, Charles Hoskinson claimed to, like, when he was working on Ethereum, one, he's made 4 blockchains, so be careful about who you're talking about, all right? He's made 4 blockchains. He's replaced Wall Street and the Federal Reserve all on his own. Charles Hoskinson, I liked pointing this out. He's kind of like a Richard Hart type character in that he's kind of got this snake oil salesman thing to him, and that he likes to up talk a lot, like up talk his story. Nothing wrong with that. Salespeople, they got to do that, but he does it to an extreme. I just love telling the story about Charles Hoskinson. Okay, if you've read the book Cryptopians, I think it's called, I forget her name. I'm so bad right now, dude. But it's a book about like the founding of Ethereum, right? Charles Hoskinson, important character in the book because he's very goofy. He talks about how he is Satoshi and he had like faked emails where he was like showing people on the Ethereum team like I am Satoshi. Uh, Meanwhile, he's like 24 years old and he's saying like how he was also in the CIA and in the Green Berets and shit, and he'd like deployed with Mossad or whatever. Anyway, he's a very interesting character. So Charles Hoskinson and Cardano with the FBI. So there's a deserialization flaw in the Cardano code, which sat unnoticed since 2022. The bug allowed a malformed delegation transaction with an oversized hash. This creates a risk where updated nodes accept the transaction while legacy nodes reject it. Now, what's important is this is just one guy just did this, and his name is Homer J. Simpson. So on November 21st, a crafted delegation transaction went live. The network split into two parallel chains. About 30 to 40% of nodes followed a poison chain. The rest rejected the transaction and stayed on the healthy chain. Wallets and dApps on the poison side stopped working. Stake pool operators missed block rewards. Binance and other exchanges paused aided deposits and withdrawals. So pretty catastrophic, right? The guy, the tagger Homer J. Simpson, says it was a personal challenge. He says AI helped him recreate the faulty transaction. He vibe coded it.
Mhm.
And he confirmed similar tests were done before on the Cardano preview testnet. So Charles Hoskinson response, he says, it's a planned cyber attack. He directly contacted the FBI and activity in the anti-IOHK Discord group Fake Fred. I don't really know what the hell that means. So they released an emergency hotfix. The stake pool operators rushed in to update nodes. Chain convergence achieved within 24 hours. FBI confirms an active investigation classified as potential federal cybercrime. I think it's a really interesting one because it's like this guy, from what I can tell, he didn't steal anything. He didn't like he was just fucking around like with the publicly available code. And again, remember we used to love this phrase "code is law," all right? Like if you push it live and it's possible to mess it up, I mean, the general idea is you should have accounted for it. Now you can say that this guy should have contacted Charles and said, I found a big bug that could destroy your network. Give me $1 million or something. But at the same time, it seems like he was just having fun, dude.
Yeah. I think that was one of my favorite quotes about it was just like, you know, basically some guy vibe coded like an attack on Cardano, you know, like that's a pretty big mess. You know, I don't know, but yeah, I agree. It's like, what will come of this? I don't know. It's just kind of, like, what are they going to do to the guy exactly?
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like we don't often get the opportunity to identify someone who's done like a disruption to this level on a network. Usually, it's like North Korean hackers or something, unnamed hacker groups that we can't identify. But I'm curious, you know, what you guys think about, you know, the Hoskinson approach here, dude. Like, I mean, he kind of had to like, they hard fork it or they just hot fixed it. I was under the impression that it was a hard fork, like they needed to like upgrade everything.
Yeah, it's like I'm not totally sure what ended up happening with it, but yeah, I think it was basically like they had to like hard fork it really fast.
Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, good for them, I suppose. Similarly, though, I was going to point out, you know, how, you know, the recent, well, you already talked about this last episode, so we actually need to rehash.
Well, I actually, hold on, maybe I can share this real fast because I do have some advice for the attacker.
Mm-hmm.
If you just post this on your X or in any Telegram groups you'll be in, you can probably get out of this whole Cardano mess.
Yeah, it's really important to use this image too because it's the puppy that really makes it work.
Yeah, in case of investigation by any federal entity or similar, do not have any involvement with this group or with the people in it. I do not know how I am here. Probably added by a third party. Do not support any actions by the members of this group.
Amen, brother.
Now if you post that in all the telegrams, you are immune to prosecution.
Can you actually send me that? I need to post that in TG right now, actually.
Yeah. So yeah, just keep that in your pocket if you ever need it. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, what else we got to talk about today, dude? What else has been popping off on Sonic? We're sending Mitch to different places to chat with different. Yeah, that's what I'm getting. This thing, everyone should post in this Gmsonic TG chat. We're sending Mitch all over the world to chat with the movers and shakers and trying to get some money for us. But what else has been happening on the network, dude?
I don't know lately.
I got this.
You
I got
got
this.
something? We were just talking before the show because we were trying to go through we were kind of like going through the feeds, and it's like, we're still like in this low comms communication era. And it's like, I think the last post was like 5 days ago. So we're like digging through the feed, like, what do we got?
We might actually, we talked about like the Shark Tank idea for a while because we thought it'd be fun, but we might actually need to do this. 21. I've invited Mitch. Okay, he's a busy guy though, but I think we got him next week. I'll be chatting with him again soon. Don't hold your breath, but also count on it. We got him coming. Arca Finance. So mitigating impermanent loss, optimizing yield, and automating rebalancing represent peak utility in DeFi. So additional DeFi products coming to Sonic. I'm kind of pumped on this. Stinky isn't liking the no comms method. So I think this was interesting because you can become an alpha tester and you get firsthand access to potential rewards for Arca. And I highly recommend you guys check it out. Not endorsement. I hope they don't rob and steal from you. I haven't read all their contracts word for word, but it seems safe enough. So another vault provider. And
but I think I was seeing here though, like I think that DLMM support is kind of interesting, considering that it, apparently it auto rebalances concentrated liquidity and like DLMM positions, which, check out the fees on it because I've used VFAT a good bit, which is another system that can, auto balance your like concentrated liquidity LPs and stuff. They kind of know they're like one of the only games in town, so they have a pretty kind of a brutal fee structure depending on what you're doing. So this could be a pretty good option if the fees are reasonable. You know what I mean?
Yeah. VFAT is pretty brutal. The one time I explored using it recently, I was asking for help on it, and they said I don't need to be using it because I was too poor. So maybe Arca's a little bit more inclusive, huh? But yeah, I think exciting. I've been talking to a couple other people on the network. No products I don't think that they're really willing to come on and talk about quite yet, but things are happening and building. You know what I mean? We got irons in the fire, dude. I got something I'm cooking up.
Yeah.
With some Moroccan masterminds, dude. We got Moroccan mentats crunching numbers, dude, running simulations, back testing, hyper gambling on the likes you guys have never seen before.
I like the sound of that. That's what we need.
Glad to do.
We need daily gambling. We need something to do. And there are, it's like you said. I mean, there's still like a few things you have to launch here pretty soon. Hopefully give us some new stuff to play around with. Hopefully we get some bigger updates here soon on what's going on behind the scenes. Yeah, I mean, we're heading into that time that's like a weird, it's just not a notoriously busy time for the market here through like the end of the year. So hoping to see some action. Most of all, just like I said, we kind of have to watch Bitcoin, Ethereum. We got to see what happens here on a larger scale on the market before we can like probably get super excited about what's coming for everybody else. So that's kind of what I'm all about right now is I like to run concentrated liquidity when we're kind of crabbing and going sideways. It's, kind of like an easy way to not necessarily, if you do it right, just make some fees, but, hold your bag, whatever. Playing with perps, of course, but be very careful. But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like one of these moments where I feel like a lot just hinges on like what's going to happen here in the next probably 2 or 3 weeks, really.
Yeah, I think you're right. Play with Perps, guys. Play with Perps on Spooky Swap using my referral code Corval. But watch your size. And I agree with Drac here. I haven't been LPing anything anywhere because I haven't felt like we're in like an actual crab zone. So I don't want to get completely murdered to death on the volatility. But I mean, how I've been thinking about it is I like playing the perps when it's super volatile like this on very small bets because I can get very large outsized returns. As long as you're, again, watch your size, very conservative. Okay, guys. I did blow up one account earlier this month, but hey, I doubled another one, so we're net even, guys.
There you go. It's all about breaking even.
Look, literally, all these markets are about breaking even, dude.
At this point, it's all about breaking even.
Mm-hmm. It's all about staying out of the cardboard box and staying in a house with four walls at this point, okay? Heat on, hopefully. All right. But
exactly.
But guys, it's Thanksgiving week here if you're stateside. And even if you're not stateside, enjoy your nice turkey dinner, and think of us, okay? So take the time, enjoy your families, Don't let them bully you too much at the dinner table for your crypto coins and all that. And that's right, Funeral. It's all about the friends we made along the way, too.
It's all about the friends we made along the way. And Zorg says it's all about breaking, not so much breaking even.
Just breaking stuff, dude.
Yeah. So,
the rage room.
Yeah, we need one of those like break rooms for sure, like the ones where you actually just like smash glass and bust plates and that kind of stuff.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, we won't be here Friday because Thursday's Thanksgiving. We both are traveling and doing some stuff Thursday, Friday. So we'll be back Tuesday. As always, hop in the Telegram, the Gmsonic Telegram. You can find those links on our X. Join us in there. Always a good time. And we're just gonna keep each other warm, keep each other safe.
That's right, dude. We're gonna keep each other warm and safe during this cold winter.
So, but I think that's all we got for today. And everybody have a good holiday if you celebrate, and we will see you next Tuesday.
Adios, folks. Catch you then.
Gmsonic is Corval and Dracula Presley. GM.